So, part two, ancient honk history. We're going to begin with chapter 3, white slavery. What I find interesting about this is the Vikings. Honkies love to say that they're a Viking, but they never talk about the slave trafficking they did back then. Let me show you. Okay. So, during the 5th and 11th century, before the transatlantic slave trade and race, these honkies were the great movers of people. I wonder if that's where the boat building came in. Honkus. Looks like the Vikings have something to do with you guys ending over in places y'all honky asses didn't belong. See? Your St. Patrick, he was a slave who escaped slavery due to divine intervention, and then later he did a whole lot of honky shit to you guys. Yep, with religion. How about that? So a lot of your diabetes infection and honky shit comes from literature, from your own literature. You believe the shit that was being written. Okay. Y'all didn't have magazines or nothing, so you went to other honkies for scholarship, I guess. So this is a description of a Welsh honky, and this is probably where dark comes from, how they're described here. And their children would end up being ugly, quarrelsome, lazy, and gossipy, swarmy little children. They don't really know how many honkies, crackers, or peckerwords were enslaved, but there sure were a lot in the Catholic Church. Yeah, they did a lot of it. Eventually, slaves became luxuries. And servitude, right here, servitude and appearance unite. And just a reminder, you guys divided the honkies up by geography. That's how y'all did it, not by white. And you want to know why y'all don't know? Well, England, the OGs of stealing, hiding, lying, and schmenocide, doesn't want y'all to know. They said that y'all were never slaves, and y'all were. A lot of y'all were. And they used the deception rule that you guys currently do today. Okay. In England, well, they fucked y'all honky heifers and honk kids up. Look at that. Look at all that. Horrible. It's really another ground zero of inhumanity over there in New England honkies. So there's two kinds of slavery. The labor was for darker skinned people, and sex was for the honky heifers. Okay? And it was imagery, like odalisque and art. And you can see that right there. I can't point to it, but that imagery, that was the imagery that they used to influence race and the beauty ideal. Okay? And then pay attention and sexually available. The relationship between slavery and social classification brings the beauty ideal squarely into the history of whiteness. And see, some of you honkies didn't believe the shit you were perpetrating over here. This Frenchie, he came up with 4 races. One of those races were honkies. I think lapse is a derogatory term, but this is who these people are. See, in Honkland over there. So here's some instability here, more confusion. He adds to the mix, or begins adding to the mix here. And you know how this honky didn't believe the shit? This is what he wrote. I have never seen anything more beautiful than the naked black girl slaves for sale off the coast of East Africa. He wants y'all to believe that the most beautiful are like the Greeks and those honkies. But he didn't believe that shit, see? And neither do most of you. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay. Gene over here fucked y'all up too. First he's telling us how nasty y'all fuckers were back then. I'm guessing it needs to possibly be looked at for a possible genetic thing amongst you honkies. He said y'all was funky. The savages. And then here he says, knowing their value as slaves, women are erotically adept and entirely shameless when it comes to the language of love. So they knew how to be slaves. He makes it seem like it was a natural thing for them. The Greek merchant bought himself a honky heifer and a child because it made him feel desire and compassion. It feels like he was aroused by her subjugation. That's real sick shit there, honky. This is how he described the Georgians. So these are all the same people. They're all the same honkies. Okay, Circassians, Caucasians, Georgians, all same shit. But he said y'all wore too much makeup. Okay. So Elise comes from harem room, Turkish harem room. So femininity is physical attractiveness, submission, and sexual availability. Doesn't that kind of sound like a pick-me? So again, we're going to go to the scholars of history, the people that created all this honky shit. So these honkies believe the Persians could make their offspring more beautiful with slave women. And they can make some money off of those beautiful creatures. And would you like to know what that reminds me of? The fancy trade. That's what that reminds me of. See the spirit of White Avides? It was international. In this honky, he connected servitude, beauty, and region. Would you look how that comes together? He's a smart guy. He wrote a book. A lot of people read it. So, and here's one of your first images of your beauty. And P.T. Barnum went in search for you guys. He wanted to exploit you. And there's a big problem with that. See, there's a huge problem with that. Check that part out right here. All had white skin and very frizzy hair, giving them the appearance of light-skinned Negroes. Would you look at that? Sorry, all this honky shit sometimes gets me discombobbled sometimes. And that was just a little doodling. White skin and Negro hair. See, that's why y'all honky heifers cosplay so much. Y'all just need to accept the truth. Okay. Honky heifers. Y'all don't look like the OGs. They are the standard of beauty. Okay. So, and here's where the art comes in. Okay. See that girl next door? They come hither, right there. See? See, you guys seem to have romanticized it. White slavery. Okay. And you guys thought white marble was real. These were real people. You guys thought a lot of these honkies were real. And they weren't. And they were copies of Greek art that was actually had color. And then Orientalism got into that. Y'all was doing other fetishizing stuff. So as white slavery trade faded, the white beauty standard is still there. I hope this made sense. It's a lot of honky shit. It really is. But next video, we'll get into this if I have shelter. And I apologize for it being so long, you guys. I do. But this is where the shit gets even more crazy. I'll tell you, their honky shit is fucking confusing.